Hello, my name is Andrew Cordova, and today is December 19th, 2025. I want to start by saying that this video has been a long time coming, and I'm just really excited to share some things with you that have had a huge impact on my life over the last few months. And that is that God has done radical things in my life. And I really think that it's time that I get excited and start being radical for Him. Now, a lot of my life, I've just been too shy or afraid to feel like I was really called to be an evangelist. But a switch was flipped in me like 3, 4 months ago as I started to make all these changes. And it was really through the power of God that I was able to commit to a new lifestyle and reshape my identity from serving myself to serving Jesus, others, and then yourself, which we were always brought up to believe is the true definition of joy. Now, God has delivered me not just once, but time and time again, and not in small ways, but straight out of the lion's den. And I've had supernatural encounters with Jesus. I've been blessed with gifts of the Spirit from a young age, whether that's wisdom or reading or writing. But I've just been really leaning into that lately and being willing and ready to accept these gifts and then express them in a way that is true to the gift giver, right? And it's funny because a lot of my life, like I said, I've been too afraid or shy to be radical for Jesus, but it never stopped me from being radical for the world. And so I'm hoping I can maybe serve as an example for someone that is maybe on the edge and thinking about stepping out and taking a different approach to life, and that my testimony and the changes I've made through faith and through the power of God will help you take that next step. So I'm a scientist by degree. I studied biochemistry. I'm a leader by nature. But to be honest, the last 10, 15 years, I've really struggled to find my place in work, to feel like I was doing something meaningful or that I was in the right place. And despite the degrees and years of studying and all these things and all these experiences, I still have felt like I was coming up short in my greater calling. And it was kind of like God just wouldn't let it go. He wouldn't stop. This idea kept coming into my head of how I can better serve and how I can help lead people to Jesus. And when I see people like George Janko and Alex Eubank and Bryson Crawford and Forrest Frank, it really kind of opened my eyes to be like, if these young, powerful men can stand up and give their testimony and tell these hard stories, then surely I can too. And God has taken away my fear, and I'm ready to be bold and on fire for Jesus. And I think now more than ever, I'm ready to share some stories. So for the past year or so, I've been working on a book series called Firstborn of Faith. And really, it's aimed at the youth who are at that crossroads in life where they're confronted with all these choices. And I really want to help inspire them and tell these stories from the Bible in a way that helps them process things, that addresses issues they're facing directly. And I call it First Men of Faith because I'm really wanting to dive in and tell stories of these young men in the Bible who sometimes are overlooked, who's sometimes to get the full message, you have to read a little between the lines, or you have to read the story multiple times. So I really want to expand out some of these stories. And so I'm starting with Abel, and the book is called Abel, Firstborn of Faith. Now, in a world of fake and fast and quick to press, I'm doing something completely different. And there'll be no AI, not for my outlines, not for my cover art. And so I've really kind of started over in the last month from where I was, because I wanted this to come through by the Spirit, to have the Spirit put the words into me and have that come to the page rather than approaching it from a more traditional way of a viewpoint. And I've been painting in the Spirit with my church. And so I realized through this process that I could paint my own cover art, right? And so I'm really looking forward to documenting that journey of inspiration, that journey of growth, the writing process as I take this on. And so over the next 12 days, the rest of 2025, I'm going to be sharing something every day. It's going to be my process, it's going to be my testimony, it's going to be things I'm seeing out in the world right now that are just inspiring. And I want to show that it can be done, that something great can come out without the use of all these new tools, and something that can be truly inspired. And with that being said, I really would appreciate your help getting the word out, sharing these videos, and when the book's ready around the end of this year, if it speaks to you, I would love it if you picked up a copy or shared it with a young person in your life that is maybe struggling with some of these things, or maybe you know in your heart that the Spirit has told you that they're going to be that beacon for their generation, and get these books in their hands. Now, the interesting thing about the story of Abel is it's told in just a few lines in the Bible. And so that's why I'm so excited, and sort of the vision I have, and the inspiration I've been given is to just expand that out and tell it in a compelling way that drives new ideas, that really covers the motifs and the themes and the things that are so easily lost in just those few lines if you're not a biblical scholar, right? And we all can't be, but these are some of the things I wish I knew when I was at that crossroads, to help me get through some tough times, or to help me become more connected and more powerful in my walk. If you haven't looked around, I got to tell you, there is a revolution happening amongst the youth. These kids are on fire for Jesus. I see it every Sunday. I see it online. I see it in the media everywhere. And I really want to be a part of that story, in encouraging it, in empowering them, and in educating them to be powerful in their walk as well. Because we've never seen anything quite like what we're seeing. I even thinking right now of a young man I saw in church just last Sunday, and he stood up proud. We had a call for all the young people who are in these influential times and who have influence over their peers. And he was in my row, and he stood up, and I put my hands towards him, and I was just so proud of this young man, because I could see it all over him that he is one of Jesus's warriors, and he is going to be standing up and representing in ways that I never could that I felt like I never could at that age. And so to see these young people doing this is just amazing and beautiful, and I really want to help contribute to that. As men, we are called to lead, and I can be completely honest and say I haven't always done the best with my own 15-year-old son. I haven't given him enough time with the Lord. I haven't showed him and stewarded him the way that I always wanted to or intended to. There's been times I was scared where I didn't push hard enough, and I could not live if I didn't do my best to put my best foot forward and put everything on the line for Jesus, for my family to see the truth and know the truth. And the truth is, my books won't be perfect. There may be things that conflict with your viewpoint or the viewpoints of various denominations, but I'm going to try my very hardest to always be inspired by the Spirit and let the Spirit move through me to put the words on the page, so that this comes across as inspired, and not through me, but through God. I want to allow the Spirit to move me and nothing else. So yeah, over the next 12 days, we'll take a journey to my office. I'll be showing you my process, telling you my story, and hopefully you're on board to learn more about me, learn more about the book, and just jump in with me head first. And that's all I have for today, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap up with some of my favorite Bible verses. Proverbs 8:23. And here we're talking about wisdom, and it's personified as a female personification of wisdom in this case. So I'm just going to read a few passages here to end. The Lord formed me from the beginning, before he created anything else. I was appointed in ages past, at the very first, before the earth began. I was born before the oceans were created, before the springs bubbled forth their waters, before the mountains were formed, and before the hills I was born. Before he made the earth and fields and the first handfuls of soil, I was there when he established the heavens, when he drew the horizon on the oceans. I was there when he set the clouds above, when he established springs deep in the earth. I was there when he set the limits of the seas so they would not spread beyond their boundaries. And when he marked off the earth's foundations, I was the architect at his side. I was his constant delight, rejoicing always in his presence. And how happy I was with the world he created. How I rejoiced with the human family. Again, that's wisdom we're talking about there. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a blessed day, and thank you so much.